The Lakers have yet, I'm told, to be aggressive in trying to put a deal together to get him from Brooklyn. That may come, that may evolve with time, but again, there's a lot of time left in this offseason and a lot more talks that are coming.
So a lot has changed in the past 24 hours in regards to the Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving trade situation. Now, I know what you guys might be thinking. This is probably the last video. No, it definitely is the last video that I'm going to be recording in this beautiful cabin, as I'm literally about to leave and drive back home. So you might see me recording the second half of this back in my office. So before we get to the content, make sure you drop a like, subscribe, turn on our notifications to help the channel grow. If you want to get shorter versions of this content, I highly recommend you follow me on Instagram and TikTok. We post 1-minute shorts of this content on Instagram and TikTok. And now that we get all that out of the way, cue the intro. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? I want to open up this video by saying happy 4th of July to everyone. I hope you're having a wonderful Independence Day. So the last time we talked about the Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving situation, we mentioned two major things. One is the fact that the Los Angeles Lakers were already in discussions with the Brooklyn Nets to acquire Kyrie Irving in a trade that was centered around Russell Westbrook. And there were two options for the Los Angeles Lakers to acquire Kyrie Irving. The Brooklyn Nets really wanted to see Joe Harris and his inflated contract sent along with Kyrie Irving so they could give themselves some cap flexibility moving forward into the future, whereas the Los Angeles Lakers were pushing for a trade package that included Kyrie Irving and Seth Curry, who's only on a 1-year, $8.5 million contract. Now, so as of right now, you think there's a substantial market for Kyrie Irving, but believe it or not, the only team that's currently pursuing Kyrie is the Los Angeles Lakers. Originally, it was thought that it was like the Los Angeles Lakers and maybe the Dallas Mavericks, and before John Wall was acquired by the Los Angeles Clippers, they were interested as well. But according to Mark Stein, the Mavericks are not pursuing Kyrie Irving. It's only the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, what does this mean for the Brooklyn Nets and the Lakers? It means that the Los Angeles Lakers might have a little bit more leverage. If Kyrie Irving absolutely refuses to return to the Brooklyn Nets, or if it's a situation where he would rather not play for an entire season than play for the Brooklyn Nets, kind of like what we saw with Ben Simmons last year with the Philadelphia 76ers, and this is just my speculation, then the Lakers do have significantly more leverage in a deal with the Nets. Then they could potentially get Kyrie and Seth Curry as opposed to, say, Kyrie and Joe Harris. And that's if the Nets even decide to trade Kyrie Irving. At the end of the day, I am prepared for the possibility that they keep both Kyrie and KD, mainly because I don't know if the Brooklyn Nets are going to get the return that they want for Kevin Durant, because now they're expecting a Rudy Gobert-like return for a player of Kevin Durant's caliber, and I don't know if there's a lot of teams that are willing to give up that type of trade package for a player that, and I'm not saying this is a guarantee, and I know we've been seeing players extend their primes more and more, and if there's anyone that could do it, it's Kevin Durant, but I'm sure there's a lot of teams that are a little bit testy, a little bit shaky about giving up like 4 future first-round picks and multiple young stars in order to get back a 34-year-old Kevin Durant who is 2 years out of his Achilles tear, which that's the only concern that I can imagine teams having about KD, just durability. But in regards to Kyrie Irving, if there's one person that really wants Kyrie Irving, it's LeBron James, who according to Mark Stein, LeBron James wants Kyrie Irving more than anybody. Mark Stein said that what other team furthermore has a LeBron-sized personality with the experience to cope with all the chaos that comes with adding Kyrie Irving, said Mark Stein in his column. LeBron James, remember, has often thrived in chaos. So I don't necessarily know what he's referring to when he says he's often thrived in chaos, but there is a history there between Kyrie and LeBron, and there is a chance that if Kyrie Irving reunites with LeBron, there will be a greater appreciation for playing with LeBron James, and maybe it'll yield better results. After all, the Los Angeles Lakers don't really have much hope right now, and I feel like trading for Kyrie Irving would at least improve their circumstances a little bit more than if they just stuck with Russell Westbrook, with all due respect to Russell Westbrook. Now here's where things get a little interesting. Jeannie Buss posted a cryptic tweet about missing Kobe Bryant, which kind of left Laker fans with a lot of questions. So here's the official tweet. I miss KB. He would understand and explain everything that I'm not allowed to. Honestly, he was the greatest Laker ever. He understood team over self, meaning your rewards would come if you valued team goals over your own, and then everything would fall into place. All can reply. Now look, there is a chance that this is absolutely nothing. There's moments in my life personally where I'm just like taking a shower, or I'm exercising, or I'm just looking at one of my many Kobe Bryant pieces, which I happen to have a Kobe Bryant picture or jersey in literally every single room in my condo. So I can understand just randomly looking at his jersey or looking at a picture of him or something that reminds you of him and thinking, damn, I'm not going to get to see this guy get older. I was just thinking about this the other day. Like, if Kobe Bryant was alive today, we'd probably have a Kobe Bryant podcast or something of that sort that we would all get to enjoy. And unfortunately, as a result of the circumstances that took place on January 26, 2020, we won't get that opportunity. But of course, Los Angeles Lakers fans are posting Brian Windhorst memes and are thinking, what the hell is going on in Los Angeles? This is such a layered tweet, especially in the midst of free agency. Why did you say this, Genie? Like, so some people are actually saying that this could be a shot at LeBron James. And as a result, there's a bunch of people posting GIFs and thinking this is a reference to LeBron. Some people think that she might be scapegoating LeBron for the current situation the Lakers are in. Bear in mind that LeBron James still hasn't committed to a contract extension with the Los Angeles Lakers. This could technically be LeBron's final year in Los Angeles. But of course, there's no way to actually prove that this is what she's saying. That's just what many people on Twitter might be speculating in regards to LeBron James. Now, in regards to Kevin Durant, here's where we stand. Yesterday, there was this wild rumor that I looked at while I was out and about, and I literally did a spit take because apparently, according to a very reputable source, Mark J. Spears, the Golden State Warriors are interested in trading for Kevin Durant. Yes, you heard that correctly. Now there's more to the story. We got more updates, but according to Mark J. Spears, it's no surprise to me that Warriors have more interest in Kevin Durant, according to sources. So does more than half of the league. It's Kevin Durant. You better make the call if you're an NBA GM because it's Kevin freaking Durant. Now, Mark Spears noted that the Warriors could potentially offer the best package for both sides, with a deal involving Jordan Poole, Andrew Wiggins, Jonathan Kuminga, and James Wiseman. Now, at this time, Durant only has the Phoenix Suns and the Miami Heat among the teams on his preferred list of trade destinations, but I would put the Golden State Warriors in that category of teams that could give up a bunch of young players to the Brooklyn Nets. I would put them alongside teams like the New Orleans Pelicans have a lot of young assets. The Toronto Raptors are the favorite currently, but currently KD only wants to go to the Suns or the Miami Heat, both being former top seeds in their respective conference over this past year. Now, I want you to just imagine if Kevin Durant actually got traded back to the Golden State Warriors. I mean, what would that do to the entire landscape of the NBA? What would that do to Kevin Durant's story? What would that do to the Golden State Warriors story? I mean, the first time Kevin Durant joined them, were coming off of a 73-9 season, and although they lost to the Cleveland Cavaliers, and yeah, there was a Draymond Green suspension that went down in the midst of that, Kevin Durant would join the Golden State Warriors after losing a 3-1 series lead to them when he was a member of the OKC Thunder, and then would go on to win 2 championships with the Golden State Warriors before eventually getting alienated from the team as a result of a fight that he had with Draymond Green. So could you just imagine if the Warriors decide to trade for Kevin Durant just shortly after winning a championship? Like, if you're a Warriors fan, how would you feel about that? If you're a fan that's just following Kevin Durant, how would you feel about that? Well, we also got word that this is relatively unlikely according to Thompson Scribe. I mean, again, the Warriors could give up the best trade haul out of any team, but I just can't imagine a team that just won a championship with a bunch of young players, trading those young players, and essentially mortgaging their future so they could still be the top team in the West. I mean, if I'm the Golden State Warriors, I would try to just build for the future around the pieces that they have, because I don't think there's much point in trading for Kevin Durant at this point. Which brings us to what Adrian Wojnarowski is saying on the current state of trades in terms of how far each team has gotten in their ability to potentially trade for KD or Kyrie. And this is what Woj had to say.
Similar to Durant, I think a very slow-moving market right now. I think certainly, unlike Kevin Durant, I think there's a limited number of teams where it might make sense. I do think there's going to be teams who would like to do deals for him. He's essentially on an expiring contract, and I think teams just need to improve their talent and can take some risk with Kyrie Irving. The Lakers have yet, I'm told, to be aggressive in trying to put a deal together to get him from Brooklyn. That may come, that may evolve with time, but so far right now, there's no traction really on deals with either Irving or Kevin Durant. They'll develop over time. Listen, both of these processes could could play out, and they don't have to trade either. They're both under contract. They could bring them back to start the season. I don't think that's the ideal scenario for Brooklyn. I think it's try to find a way to get a biggest haul of assets they can. But again, there's a lot of time left in this offseason and a lot more talks that are coming.
So the Lakers have yet to try to put a deal together to get Kyrie from Brooklyn. The Brooklyn Nets are trying to be patient in regards to trading Kyrie and KD so they could get the best package possible. They have a lot of assets that they gave up in order to get like James Harden. So I'm assuming that they're going to do their best to try to recoup those assets. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below, man. Do you think we could see a trade as soon as this week, or are we going to be waiting for a little bit? I personally think we're going to see a trade sooner rather than later, so those teams could start filling out their teams via free agency to build around the newly acquired Kyrie Irving or Kevin Durant. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.